What is going on, TryHard podcast listeners? We are back again and again and again. Listen, guys, I got no more excuses for you. All right, I got none. I'm a lazy piece of shit. I get busy. I'm an adult. I got kids. Sometimes I just don't have time. All right, but listen, I've been on my content grind as of late. All right. So I figured, hey, why not bring the podcast back? All right. No more bullshit. Enough being a lazy ass. Bring the podcast back and just do it. Just do it as much as you can. If you can do one episode a week, cool. If you can do two, cool. Interviews, cool. No interviews, solo episodes, whatever. Just do something with the podcast. All right. There's no like in apps or I don't even know that expression. There's just no reason for it. All right, so we're bringing this bitch back. Okay. Um, I don't know what you guys been up to. I've been on the same shit, kids, life. All right, you guys need to remember. You need to remember something. All right, I'm having a hard time talking because I haven't done this in a while. You have to remember that I'm an old man. All right, and not in a sense of like age wise, but technically in the Call of Duty community, I am an old man. All right, I'm in my 30s. I know that's old for you guys. In real life, it's not. It's actually it's actually in your prime if you think about it in real life. I got a wife. I got kids. Right, but I love this shit. I love this competitive Call of Duty scene. I don't know why. It's like I'm Spider Man and I got bit by a fucking I'm Peter Parker and I got bit by a spider. For some reason I just love this shit and it's I'm confused on why. All right. Um but one of my goals for this year, I haven't talked to you guys in a while, but one of my goals for 2024, and I told myself this, I'm gonna really try to work on two things. All right, two things. As far as my personal stuff, two things. I want to work on my health, and I want to. This is gonna be my last year. All right, guys, I'm in my 30s. Okay, I'm in my 30s. This is gonna be my last year of doing all this shit. All right, of content creation around Call of Duty, grinding COD. Right, and I'm not grinding like you guys grind. I'm grinding it the way I can. Right, at night when my kids and wife are sleeping. Um, but overall, I promised myself, this is it. This is the last year. I either do something with this or I don't. I either stay consistent or I just stop and just be a normal fucking adult who just likes to play video games, right? Maybe still stream, but whatever. So I want to make the podcast a part of that process this year. All right, and I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do. I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do. I got an editor now for my TikTok videos. I've been listen. If you don't follow me on TikTok, follow me on TikTok. All right, Garza Beats, everything Garza Beats. I got a logo now. I got a logo. All right. Listen, you guys. I am 100% serious when I say this is it. All right. 2024 is this is it. No excuses. Content all year, but more importantly, good consistent content. Good consistent content. Not just content, good consistent content. Okay? I wanna contribute on the content wise. All right. I'm not really involved with the competitive scene like I normally am with the challenger scene and all that stuff. I've stepped away from that. All right, I've stepped away from that. I don't have the drive like I once did to run an organization. To run Three Kings, my org. I don't have the drive to do it anymore. When it comes to that, but I still love the competitive scene. I still love it. So I figured Well, just contribute with content. Give people something to talk about. Give people something to listen to every day. Hence this podcast. Try to entertain them with your streams. Try to give them, you know what I mean? I want to be the example to set for you young adults that when you get to your 30s, even if you're not a competitive player, you can still enjoy gaming. It's okay. You can still enjoy it. All right. You don't have to give it up. Understand? So that's the kind of attitude I'm going for in 2024 with my content. I want to do that. I want to give you guys that. All right, and give you guys this kind of the look and the look of the life, look into the life of a 30-plus-year-old adult man, with kids, a wife, lives a normal life, but loves Call of Duty. More specifically, loves competitive Call of Duty. All right, this is what my content is going to be around. This is what my content in 2024 is going to be mostly about. All right, so just a little quick explanation of where I've been, what I've been doing, and giving you guys a quick heads up on what to expect from me going forward. All right, this is it. This is the last hurrah. No more starting. No, this is it. 2024. If nothing comes out of it this year with my content, I'm just gonna play video games. I'm not gonna fucking be grinding. There's no reason to, for me. You know what I mean? But let's talk about some shit, guys. How you guys been? You guys been good? I've been good. I've been playing a lot of MW3. Ranked play came out a couple of weeks ago, so like 2 weeks ago I think it was, right? Yeah, 2.5 weeks ago, something like that. So I've been playing a lot of that. Crossplay off, obviously. I'm not playing with you fucking PC people. We're not doing that. We're not doing that anymore. You guys, listen. Competitive COD on PC is if you're not in the pro league, I'm not sure what you're doing with yourself. I'm not sure what you're doing. If you're not in the pro league and you're playing ranked play on PC, unless you're a hacker, what are you doing? Go get a console. Quit fucking around. Go get a console. Stop wasting your time. There's no point. Listen, you play with crossplay on, you play with PC players. I mean, the amount of hackers all over that shit is ridiculous. I'm not sure how you guys like to play that shit. Honestly, I'm not sure how you guys do it. Not sure. So I've been doing that. I've been doing that. I was playing crossplay on for a little bit because my IRLs started playing COD again. Right? They started playing COD again, and so that was fun. But again, they're around my age. They have lives, and they just stop playing for whatever reason. They'll pick up playing again. You know what I mean? Just it's me. I'm the only one who plays almost every day, right? And don't get it twisted. I play fucking 2 to 3 hours maybe a day, right? So that's kind of, so when I'm not playing with them, I just play fucking crossplay off. I'll solo queue by myself on PlayStation and just have at it, right? So I've been doing that a little bit. I really started grinding, like I told you guys earlier with my content. I started grinding my TikTok, right? Listen, I don't know what you're supposed to do. I just hired a guy, an editor. Pretty much all I do when I'm streaming, if I hit a clip, I'll clip it on my OBS, send him the clip. He sends me back an edited version of it, right? With overlay, fucking, TikTok format, all that shit. So I got a good thing going with him. I'm trying to, get a video a day on TikTok. That's a whole nother fucking monster in itself. I'm not sure how you grow your TikTok following. I'm not sure how that works. I just upload videos on it, If it's good, it's good, whatever. Sometimes I'll get a couple thousand views on it. Sometimes I'll barely break 200. I don't know. People are like, "Well, you got to post at this time." I don't listen. I'm not doing all that. I'm just going to post the shit. You like it, you cool. You don't, whatever. I'm not going to look at what time you're supposed to post and hashtags and fucking use this song and green screens. And I'm just, whatever I feel like posting, I'm going to post it. Is what it is. I'm not going to have a strategy on what to, like, oh, I want to get a bunch of followers. No. I'm doing it because I like to do it. Period. That's it. No other reason. All right. Same with this podcast. I want to keep consistent on this because I want to make this podcast, especially in Call of Duty this year, I want it to be a consistent podcast, like one or two episodes a week, right? You have all these other shows. I know you have a couple other podcasts. I know Dick Sturdo, the gaming blog, does a Call of Duty podcast with like Parasite and Aches, and I forgot who else is it. They do it like once a month or twice a month or whatever. Breaking Point GG, they have a podcast with like the Stocksman, that guy. He does an episode like once a month or once every 2-3 weeks, whatever. I want to do a podcast one or two episodes a week, like that. I want to be in your fucking ear all the time, talking Call of Duty, talking competitive Call of Duty, talking challengers, primarily challengers, some pro shit, right? I don't feel like I have to cover all the pro stuff all the time, just for the simple fact that there's a bunch of other people that do that. You guys fucking jack off to Tactical Rab. I love Rab, by the way. Shout out to Rab, Tactical Rab, the Flank, you know what I mean? All those guys. That's cool, but I want this to be a uncensored, my opinion on situations, right? This past weekend we had, and why I'm bringing this podcast back this week, we had our first major one in Boston, Massachusetts. It was, held on. The major was hosted by the Boston Breach. Shout out to them. And it looked fun. It looked awesome. Fucking Challenger event was crazy. The pro side was crazy. Call of Duty's back right now. We're back, right? The competitive scene is back. Say what you want about the CDL, how it's ran, who's running it, is it going to last? All those questions that we can talk about other time, but fuck all that. Forget all that, right? Forget all that. Right now, Call of Duty looks fun when it comes to competitive side, right? Our esport, the esport of COD. It looks fun. It looks like it's back. This is what, like I'll take for instance, the first time Optic and FaZe played this weekend. I mean, that's what it's about. Everyone was hyped. The community was hyped. Esports in general were hyped, not just COD. All the esports blogs were talking about it. Like, I saw Barstool, they were talking about it. Like, that's what Call of Duty esports was supposed to be. That, the hype, the fans going crazy, everyone excited. The game, yeah, I get it. The game, whatever. It's whatever. The game is the same as last year. Whatever. The maps are dog shit. Whatever. Right? The esport in itself was thriving this past weekend. Okay? That's what we all want. Who gives a fuck if it's on YouTube or Twitch or wherever it's at? Who cares? It was thriving. It was thriving this past weekend. Okay? That's what I envisioned when I first got into the scene in 2000 fucking what? 13, 14, or 15 around. I don't remember. That's what I envisioned this shit to be. And that's what it felt like this past weekend in Boston. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was jealous I wasn't there. I was like genuinely jealous I wasn't there. I was jealous I wasn't there. like just to feel the energy. It looked like, it didn't look like bullshit, like fake fans. No, it looked like real fans, real energy. Like, we needed this. The esport needed this badly. Call of Duty needed this badly. The esport of Call of Duty needed this event badly. And let me tell you, shout out to Boston Breach for hosting a great event. And I wasn't even there. Like I said, I wasn't there. Just from what I seen on the computer, shit looked lit. Like, what you guys say lit? It looked lit, right? It looked lit. I don't know if you guys are still using that word, but that's what it looked like. It looked fucking lit. Man, I was jealous I wasn't there. But that's what we needed. That's exactly what we needed. All right? That's exactly what the scene needed, and we got it. Okay? We got it. I was looking at some posts earlier on X. The viewership beat the viewership from last year. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. That's the shit we like to see. All right? We're all complaining, me included. I'm not gonna put myself out of harm's way. Me included. We were complaining. We were complaining. Well, the viewership last year was this, and the viewership this year is going to be lower because it's on YouTube and not Twitch. I get it. Yeah, I get it. I get all that. But hold on. Let's bring up the viewership real quick. Let's bring up the viewership. It was crazy. Then we got a lot of shit to cover today, guys. We got a lot of shit to cover. We got challengers. We got the pro scene. We got a lot of shit to cover today. I'm excited. And I don't want to make this too long, so I'm going to try to speed through everything for sure. But hold on a minute. Hold up. Wait a minute. Let's see this. Look at former CDL commissioner John Berg has been named the new president of Blizzard. What? Yeah, see, there's what? That's not right. Oh, Joanne. My bad. So Activision Blizzard, new president, Joanne. She used to run shit for the CDL. I don't know what that means for the CDL. I have my own thoughts on the future of the CDL. Other people might not agree with that. I'm still under the impression that the CDL is on borrowed time. What I mean by that is I'm not even gonna get into that. I'm not even gonna get into that. But hold on. Let's stay on this viewership thing. What the fuck? I kept on seeing that all over Twitter. The viewership. Hold on a minute. We're gonna bring it up right now. Probably should have had this ready, but it's all good. Let's see. So, okay, well, that's not right. Anyway, long story short, the viewership this year, the viewership for Major 1 out, the number was higher than last year's Major 1. All right, which is a good thing. Again, I'm not sure how they're combining those views. It is what it is, but I'm gonna trust the people who count that shit. I'm gonna trust what they're saying. They said it was higher than last year. That's a W. All right, that's a W. So that's a good way to start the season. We all should be happy about that. No one should be, or they told the truth. Fuck all that. That's a W. We'll take the W. We'll take it. It is where it is. All right. So that let's talk about the major. All right, on the pro side. And again, guys, I don't want to cover too much on the pro side because you have other outlets. I'm sure you guys listen to the Flank and all that bullshit, and you'll I'm sure they covered it, but we'll go. We'll go. So on Thursday, first night of the Major One Boston, we had Atlanta FaZe beat the LAG Gorillas 3-0. We had now this was the big shocker on Thursday. We had the New York Subliners taking on the Minnesota Rocker. Minnesota Rocker with the major upset, upsetting New York Subliners 3-0. Let me repeat that. Thursday, the first day of the Major One in Boston, the Minnesota Rocker upset the defending world champions in New York Subliners 3-0. We'll dive into that a little bit here in a minute. Match after that was Toronto Ultra versus Seattle Surge. Toronto Ultra with the easy 3-0 over Surge. And then the matchup that everyone was excited about on Thursday was Miami Heretics versus Optic Texas. Why was everybody excited? For what reason? Well, Miami, the weekend before, Miami Heretics online 3-0'd Optic. All right? This was Optic's chance to get some revenge. Everyone's big, well, can Miami do it on land? We got to see today, or on Thursday, we got to see. And Miami did not come with the business. All right, Miami did not, you guys say stand on business. Miami did not stand on business on land at all. None at all. They were not on business on land. All right. On Thursday, Optic Texas 3-0'd Miami Heretics with ease. With fucking ease. I watched that entire series. Optic looked like they didn't even get, sweat, right? Optic's first hard point with Miami, that was probably the closest map Miami had with Optic. The final score was 211-250. Optic took it. Miami it was a back and forth for a little bit. It was a back and forth. I'll give them that. Overall, the series was it was a fun series, but it was a one-sided series. It wasn't even close. Shotzi led the way for Optic in that series against Miami with a 1.51, followed by Dashi with a 1.32, and then Pred with a 1.16, and Kenny with a 1.02. Miami Heretics on that series against Optic, they struggled. All right. Metals led the way for Miami with a 1.0. Vickle struggled against Optic, 0.95 KD. Lucky really struggled with a 0.74 KD. And Journey, I mean, he was struggling. All right. He struggled against Optic with a 0.64. Holy shit. He got bodied. But long story short, Optic got the revenge against Miami online and sent them to the losers bracket, along with Seattle going to the losers bracket and the New York Subliners going to the losers bracket and the LAG Gorillas going to the losers bracket. But again, I think the biggest other than the Miami Heretics Optic match on Thursday, the by far the biggest upset on Thursday and the first day of the major was the Minnesota Rocker defeating the New York Subliners. It's confusing. I'm confused by New York right now. Very confused. I'm trying to find ways to figure out what's wrong with them or what's going on. Okay. Now, when on paper, obviously the team should be really good, right? On paper, you got Kismet, you got Skies, right? You got Sib, and you got fucking Hydra. Okay. You have the defending world champions plus Sib. All right. You have the defending world champions playing. Arguably, it's the same fucking game as last year. All right. Arguably. Arguably, MW3 is the exact same game that they won the world championship on. So coming in, you just added a player in Sib who was disgusting last year. He was disgusting. All right. So in theory, adding him over Priesta, who Priesta, for the most part, you would say from last year's New York team, was the weak link. And not in a negative way, as in, he wasn't as good as Hydra. He wasn't as good as Kismet. He wasn't as good as Skies, right? He was still fucking good, right? So for whatever reason, he leaves, contract issues, money issues, whatever, right? They pick up Sib. Argue, and no one can talk about it. No one can say, well, Priesta was better than Sib. No, that's not happening. We all know Sib is better than Priesta, right? We all know that. So going into this year, you should have fully expected New York to be just as good, if not better, by adding Sib, right? And again, we're talking about LAN, okay? These past couple weeks with the qualifiers online, and we'll get into a little bit of that later. I don't give a fuck about the online matches. I don't care. Okay, I don't give a shit about the online matches. All right. Even online, they look shaky. But again, it's online. So who gives a fuck? It's online, right? Now, when you come to LAN, there's no excuses. There's none. No ping excuses, no whatever. There's no excuses, right? Now, one excuse you could have had was, all major, the PCs were acting up on the pro side. But whatever, everyone dealt with that. So that's not an excuse. New York just didn't look like themselves. They didn't look like the team you would expect them to be. They didn't. All right. When they played Minnesota Rocker, that first hard point was close. Rocker won 250 to 238, right? The S&D, Rocker won with ease, 6-2. And the control was pretty competitive. Rocker taking that 3-2. 3-0, New York Subliners, sending them to losers bracket. All right, now let's check the stats here. This is when you know, okay, where something's wrong. All right, look at these stats for New York Subliners. Kismet led the way with a 1.04. Now, no offense to Kismet. That's not Kismet's job. Okay? It's not Kismet's job to be the one leading the way in the slaying department. Okay? If Kismet is responsible for the slaying, what the fuck are those other three supposed to do? What's their job then? In my opinion, your slaying department is Hydra and Sib. Okay? Hydra and Sib. Kismet led the way with a 1.04, followed by Hydra with a 0.98, almost positive, or almost even. Behind Hydra was Skies with a 0.93. And at the bottom was Sib with a 0.83. Okay. Obviously for Sib, he struggled that series. For whatever, and that's again, we don't know we don't know what the problem was. We can't say, they're an online team. No, we know all those guys can play online. We know they do. We know they outperform. Do you guys not forget what Sib did to Optic? Sent them packing. Was that champs? Sent them packing. 1v3. And sent them packing. Sent them home. Sib is disgusting online. Hydra is disgusting online. Sky is disgusting online. Kismet is disgusting online. For whatever reason, They just didn't look like themselves. They just didn't. And there might be something more into it that we're just not seeing right now. All right. So that was the big upset for Thursday. Was that was the big upset for Thursday. So then we go into Friday, right? Elimination round. New York Subliners take on the Carolina Royal Ravens. And with another upset, New York Subliners drop that and lose to the Carolina Royal Ravens 3-1. Hardpoint was close. The S&D wasn't close. The control New York took, and then Carolina finished them off with the hardpoint terminal. Again, another confusing situation when it comes to New York. Okay, Sib struggled, had a 0.97. Kismet struggled here with a 0.78. Skies and Hydra led the way for New York with a 1.07, and Hydra had a 1.03. This right here. Again, Carolina Royal Ravens did their thing. All right, the Ravens did their thing. They eliminated the world champs, the defending world champs. Now, I'm not going to say, Royal Ravens are back. And I'll give credit where credit's due. I always thought TJ Haley was a recycled pro who, it confuses me why he gets all these opportunities in the league. All right. He did his thing this event. He did his thing. All right. He did his thing. I'm not gonna hold him on it. Fellow went crazy. Right. So we're not gonna say that Carolina didn't do what they had to do to win, because they did. The people they picked up to fill in for real and whatever, they did what they were supposed to do. They performed. This is on New York, in my opinion. This is on New York. These losses are on New York. Something's not clicking with them right now. And just even judging, and I even said, like I said before, fuck online, but there's something there, because even online they don't look like the way they're supposed to look. So it's a confusing time. They gotta figure it out. They gotta figure it out, because that team is too good on paper. On paper, that's a T3 team. On paper, right? On paper, that's a T3 team. That's an all-star team you have there. They should not be getting T12 or T whatever, A. Makes no sense. Long story short, New York, they got to get their shit together. And if I find something out, I'm going to come to the podcast, let you guys know. I'm not going to hold nothing back. Fuck it. Why not? So we're going to skip all that. And then we go to, we're not going to go all through all the matches. The big match on Friday, or on Saturday, was Optic versus FaZe, right? Optic's chance to the big thing was that Optic and FaZe played online, and Optic beat them. What was it? What did Optic beat? I think Optic 3-0'd them, right? But the big thing was the ping and whatever, blah blah blah. So, the Optic haters were saying, "Oh, there you go, Optic again," with their excuses, right? And the Green Wall Dick Riders were, if it's on land, it's gonna be different. If it's on land, it'll be way different. It's fucking online, blah blah blah. Well, we got your wish. Finally got to see Optic and FaZe play on land. And man, it was good. It was exactly what it should have been. It was a dogfight. Entertaining as fuck. right? Literally Optic and FaZe on LAN is the pinnacle of what Call of Duty esports is. It's the pinnacle. That's what it's supposed to be. Okay, that's what it's supposed to be. Whenever someone asks me, well, why do you love Call of Duty esports so much? I want to show them a series of Optic versus FaZe on LAN. The fans, the energy. And again, guys, I wasn't even there, and I felt the energy through the screen. Through my computer, I felt the energy. All right? That match of Optic versus FaZe, that's, if I'm the CDL, that's what I pitch to these investment groups. That's what I pitch right there. Fuck the numbers, fuck all that. If I'm the CDL and I'm trying to find investors, anytime Atlanta FaZe and Optic Texas play on LAN in a live event, that's where I bring all my investors to show them what this is supposed to be. What this is supposed to be. And that's the pinnacle right there. The pinnacle. It's not even close. Not even close. And we were in for a fucking treat because it was an amazing series. Both teams trading blows for blows. It was like a heavyweight fight. I was entertained from the moment it started to the moment it was over. And I'm an Atlanta FaZe fan. But that match, I didn't give a fuck who won. I just wanted it to be good. And it was better than good. It was exactly what we needed. All the bullshit we went through leading up to the CDL, this season and the game and all this shit and the uncertainty of the league and blah blah blah. All that was erased. With this. Oh, it felt so good to watch, man. It felt so good to watch. The crowds yelling, everyone fucking screaming for their favorite team. It was, again, it's the pinnacle of what competitive Call of Duty is supposed to be. The pinnacle. Let me calm down. Look at, see, I'm all excited and shit. I'm excited just talking to you guys about it. Anyway, long story short. Oh shit, what did I do? Long story short, Atlanta beat Optic Texas on LAN 3-2. Awesome series. So on that Friday, Toronto played Minnesota Rocker. Toronto won that series easily 3-0. Then in the losers bracket elimination rounds, Optic sent home Seattle Surge. Optic beat Seattle, sending them home 3-1. And then Minnesota sent LAG home 3-2. Hey, Minnesota might have been the surprising team. They were the surprising team of the tournament. That takes us into Championship Sunday. Championship Sunday, first match of the day was Minnesota Rocker versus Optic Texas. Optic Texas takes that match, sending Minnesota Rocker home. Optic beats Minnesota 3-1. Optic's hardpoint has been looking pretty damn good. They look like either the best or the second best hardpoint team right now in the game. I would say Toronto's probably the best hardpoint team in the game. They destroyed Minnesota in that invasion hardpoint 250-149. Then Optic took the S&D 6-2. Then Minnesota came back with the control 3-2. And then Optic closed out the series in a hardpoint skid row 250-176, taking that pretty fucking easily. Stats for that: Pred led the way in that series. Pred with a 1.37, Dashy right behind him with a 1.14. Kenny coming through with a 1.02, and then Shotzi at the bottom with a 1.0. So overall, everyone had a good series for the team. So they easily took Minnesota out. Lins for Minnesota Rocker led them with a 1.01. Accuracy under him with a 0.90. Vivid struggled with a 0.82, and then Awakening really struggled that series with a 0.80. Lins was definitely the highlight of that Minnesota Rocker team for this past event. The kid was going crazy. I think they have that should be their franchise player. And I use that term lightly because who knows what's going to happen to CDL. But for the rest of the year, if Minnesota for some reason decides to make any roster changes, I would say building around Lins would probably be their best bet. Even though I would say don't fuck with the team at all. You guys you guys made the championship Sunday, finished T4 or T6. Like you got why would you change anything? Definitely stay that. Optic moved on. Then the big matchup of that was Atlanta FaZe versus Toronto Ultra. Toronto Ultra beats Atlanta FaZe 3-1. They beat them pretty easily. I said this on Twitter. I think Toronto just might be Atlanta's hard counter. Now, what I mean by that is for some reason Atlanta just have a hard time playing Toronto. The players on Toronto just counter everything that the players of Atlanta FaZe do, and they do it better. You know what I mean? So, for instance, let's see, that first hard point, Toronto took 250 to 214. I mean, it's hard. Like I said, it's hard to explain. Okay, yeah, I'll put it like this for you. Atlanta beat Toronto Atlanta beat Optic the second time pretty easily, right? We're not even going to break it down. I'm not going to break it down. I'm not going to get into that. People will look into that. I'm just telling you right now, for some reason, I think Toronto is Atlanta FaZe's hard counter. It is where it is. So Toronto beats Atlanta FaZe, sending Atlanta FaZe to losers. Toronto Ultra go to grand finals. In losers finals, Atlanta versus Optic. Atlanta beats Optic fairly easily, 3-1. In the series of in the losers finals, Atlanta FaZe versus Optic. Atlanta beats Optic in the terminal hardpoint 250 to 169. They beat them in then Atlanta FaZe beats Optic Texas in the S&D 6-3 invasion. And then in control, which Atlanta is said to be the best control team in the game, Optic wins the control invasion 3-1. But then they go to hardpoint, and then Atlanta closes out the series 250 to 212 in the hardpoint, sending Optic Texas home. Optic finish with a T3 finish. So for Optic, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Coming off that online, and listen, I'm guilty of it too. I'm guilty as well, where I try not to put too much merit into online play, but you just can't help it. Sometimes you do. In the online, Optic looked, they were struggling. So I for sure thought if they can't win online, they're going to get spotted on LAN. Optic played better than I thought they were going to play. I honestly, after those online performances this past, or 2 weekends ago, I thought they were going to come into the event and maybe get T8, finish T3. That's a W. You got to take that. New team, T3 with a new team. You got to take that. Played better than I thought they were going to play. So people shouldn't, especially the fans, the green wall, they should not be too upset about Optic's performance. I mean, at the end of the day, even don't let the names on the team fool you. Like, I get they're all stars and they're all, disgusting in their own right, but they're still a new team. So new team, T3, you got to love it. I mean, you got a lot to look forward to. So that takes us to our grand final of Toronto Ultra versus Atlanta FaZe. And again, like I said, for some reason, I feel like Toronto Ultra is just Atlanta FaZe's hard counter. Toronto Ultra take that series and win the grand finals, and they become the Major 1 Boston Breach tournament champions, beating Atlanta FaZe in grand finals 4-1. It's just, again, it's hard to explain, man. It's hard to explain. In that series, Insight went crazy. Insight ended up being, was Insight the, hold on a minute. I'm pretty sure Insight was the tournament MVP. Was he, or was it Kleenex? I think it was Insight or Kleenex. I think it was Kleenex, actually. Anyway, guys, I'm telling you, it's Toronto Ultra is just Atlanta FaZe's hard counter. This is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, Insight ended up being the Major 1 MVP. He had a 1.42 in the grand finals. What? A 1.42 in grand finals. The dude was fucking disgusting. All right, 1.42. I mean, he literally carried his team. Like, the dude was running around with a JanSport backpack. Insight had a 1.42. Kleenex had a 0.95. Scrap had a 0.93. And Envoy had a 0.81 in grand finals, and they won easily. They won easily 4-1. Look at Atlanta. Slaying-wise, they outslayed Toronto Ultra, but they still lost. Simp with a 1.21. Celium with a 1.08. Draza with a 1.0. Abizi struggled like crazy that series with a 0.78. So again, you guys, that just tells you Atlanta outslayed them that entire series. But Toronto beat them easily. The teamwork from Toronto was just insane. Just insane. Fucking insane. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't even know how to explain that, to be honest with you. I literally don't. I don't know how to explain that. But again, guys, I'm telling you, Toronto might be Atlanta's hard counter. It is what it is. Like, we gotta come to that fact. All right. So, fuck all that. Shout out to Toronto Ultra for the W, taking the first Major 1 of the 2024 season. On the pro side, it looks like it's gonna be fun. All right, it's gonna be a fun time. All right, that's it. We're done with the pro stuff. Enough of the pro stuff. We're gonna touch on We're gonna touch on a little bit of the. Someone said, hold on. We're gonna talk about. I think the biggest problem with, and we'll pull that clip up. The biggest controversy with the pro side of the event was this interview with Illy. Illy, Seattle Surge player. Hold on a minute. We'll bring it up so you guys can hear him talk. Here it is. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, next week we'll have the video on the screen. That way you can watch. But we're gonna play this on for audio purposes.
Honestly, we just believed, you know, like I literally said believe, like I literally said start playing tighter towards like, well, like that doesn't matter, but like, yeah, we got the piece P4, we got the Castle Row, and yeah, like yeah, we just believed, and then we ended up breaking P1. Yeah, you know how it went.
Y'all definitely believed out there, okay? And you came through, but you're still in this tournament. You got one more match tonight. For the few fans out there who are supporting y'all, even though y'all on the villain arc, what you want to say to them?
Appreciate the support for the real supporters.
There you go. You heard it from me and Illy on the.
All right. So you heard the video, right? Again, for YouTube people, next week we'll have videos and shit on screen that we guys can see. Blah blah. Don't bitch. Now the big controversy was that was his behavior. He was really erratic. Very. We're gonna cut this shit. He looked like he was on something. Okay, he looked like he was on something. Now, if you follow the competitive Call of Duty scene, if you follow competitive esports, period, there's always been a big problem with substance abuse, and not substance abuse like weed or you know, anything like that. Performance enhancing substance abuse. All right. And I'm not going to say it on stream or on the video because I don't want to get this video demonetized, even though I'll make 10 cents off of it, demonetized off of YouTube. But they call in the esports world, they call it the bean. All right, they call it the bean. It's you know, it gets you hyped up. It's a prescription medicine that gets prescribed to people. But when it's abused, it does the opposite effect for people who don't need it. You know, it's the bean. It gets you hyped up. It's where to say it? Fuck it. It's Adderall, right? It's Adderall. It's been a problem in esports for a long time, since the development of esports and Call of Duty especially. And it looked like he was on it. He was moving very erratically. Eyes were fucking the size of a cue ball, a pool cue. His eyes were just massive. But more shocking was just the movements he was making. If you don't know what Adderall is, it's very the make of Adderall, like the genome or the whatever, the inside of Adderall, what it does to your body is very similar to the effects of methamphetamine, of meth. Okay, it's very similar. It's a thing that gets you hyped up, right? And you know, me when I get cracked out, I drink a fucking Monster or a Red Bull, especially when I'm playing COD. And Adderall is just a whole nother level. Right, but more concerning is at the end of the day, it's a drug, right? It's a drug that people abuse. Now, I'm not going to say that he's on it because I don't know what he came out and tweeted earlier today that, oh, you guys are tripping. I was on caffeine, blah blah blah. I don't know if that's true. I don't know. I'm not gonna say that he's lying or he definitely was on that, whatever. I don't know his business, but you know, he looked like he was flying high, and that's been the big controversy this past weekend. I'm not gonna get too much into it because I don't know the details. I don't know his personal life. Who knows? I just thought I'd bring it up, but fuck all that. Shout out to Illy. Maybe one day we can get him on the podcast, but yeah. So let's go over to challengers. So shout out to the Boston Breach for holding a challengers event. Um, big opportunity for these players who are not in the pro scene, but they're good enough to be in the pro scene. Trying to grind their way through the gauntlet, the passion pit, and trying to get a spot in the CDL. So shout out to the winners, FC Black, FaZe Black. The team of Asim, Brack, Exceed, and Kremp won the Challenger Open. Second place was Lore Gaming, the team of Hamza, Craze, Wiz, and Geo. Third place was Crew SGP. Third place was Cruz, Lunars, Gunzy, and Eric Boom. And then fourth place was the Houghton Spartans, the team of Spart, Fire, Perlut, and Rex. Overall, it was from what I heard, it was a good open event. People, a lot of good players, a lot of good matches. Shout out to the Boston Breach for holding a Challenger Open. You guys have to understand. They're not obligated to hold the Challenger Open. The league doesn't tell them you have to host an event for challengers. The league doesn't tell them that. They do this on their own, right? Boston is one of the very few organizations that actually cares about the challenger scene, actually cares about the future of competitive Call of Duty. They're the first team to have an academy team, right? Not the first, but one of the first to have an academy team in the Boston Breach Academy. I'll talk about Censor here in a little bit too. Some breaking news from earlier today. So I heard people, there was a situation where certain matches weren't able to be streamed on Championship Sunday because, listen, you guys need to understand, there was a lot of technical issues during the Open. During the Challenger event, there was a lot of technical issues. The event was held at the House of Blues there in Boston, right? Not the actual venue of the pro major, but the House of Blues. The Boston Breach, staff rented out that House of Blues venue for the Challenger Open. You guys have to understand, when they go and get these venues, Boston Breach, the people who own Oxygen Esports, the people who own Boston Breach, they don't own those venues, right? They don't own them. So when they go sit down with them and say, hey, we want to host this event here, blah, 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 there's a contract, right? There's a contract. Okay, you want to host it here? Okay, this will be charged, blah, blah, blah. And in those contracts, there's time limits, right? You can start at this time. You have to be out. Everyone has to be out by this time. And the venues typically, the venues have guidelines they have to follow through the city of Boston, right, or wherever the venue's at, right? There's certain, that venue probably has a liquor license. Please understand what that means. It's a very big deal when it comes to a business like that. So when you have a liquor license, there's certain guidelines you have to follow to keep that liquor license or to keep any kind of permit or whatever that you have as a venue, as a business, being allowed to run in the city of wherever it's at, Boston, wherever, right? So when a venue agrees to host an event like the Challenger Open, there's timelines that have to be kept, right? So every day, everyone's got to be out at this time, right? And those are agreed times between both parties. Now, obviously, there was technical issues, right? Certain matches were delayed, certain matches couldn't be played, blah blah blah. It happens at anybody who's ever been to a small Call of Duty event knows there's going to be technical issues. And even on the big stage, even on the big, with the big events like the CDL matches, there's technical issues. It's part of the game. It's literally a part of the fucking game. So, again, the Boston Breach Open for the Challenger Open event had technical issues, so their schedule was pushed back, right? Long story short, at the end of Saturday, their original plan was to be done with everything except for the grand final. That was it. So the contracts and stuff that they had, or the agreements they have with the venue, was on Saturday everything will be done. Okay? This is why on Sunday or on Saturday night when they weren't done, they had to kick everybody out. This is why the next day on Sunday, the losers finals match had to be played on the warm-up PCs that the pros use in the other venue where the major was being held. This is why they couldn't stream that. This is why they couldn't have spectators back there, because there was no room, right? They didn't expect this to have to be played there. Now, whoever you want to blame, I get it. You want to blame the Boston or the esports engine, whoever runs the events, for not being prepared. It's whatever. You can't. They tried. But one thing that's not fair is for people to blame Oxygen Esports, aka Boston Breach. Again, they don't have to host an event. They don't have to host a challenger event. Okay? They don't have to host a challenger event for challengers. They don't. Like, there's, again, the CDL doesn't tell them to. In fact, if you guys remember, if you follow me on Twitter, a couple months ago, I said, hey, just so you guys know, or I tweeted something like at midnight. I'm like, yo, you're not going to have that many open events. This is why, blah, blah, blah. People called me crazy. How do you know? I knew because I talked to somebody, whatever. Sure shit, this year you're only getting 2 events. Maybe 3, maybe. But right now, only 2, right? Again, these teams they're not obligated by the CDL to host Challenger Opens. They're not. They're just not, right? So Boston Breach, going out of their way to do this, should be applauded, not hated on for some shit they couldn't control. At the end of the day, that's the House of Blues. Do you guys know what the House of Blues is? Do you guys know how lucky you are to be competing in the House of Blues? Do you know what the House of Blues represents when it comes to culture, pop culture, music? I don't think you guys do. The House of Blues is a big deal outside of Call of Duty. Okay? The fact that the Boston Breach held an event in the House of Blues, for you fucking stinky savages, you should be happy. You should be happy. Sorry it didn't go perfect. How about this? How about no event? How about that? How about that? You want to complain? How about no event? That could happen very easily. Boston Breach said, no, we support the challenger community. We support the future of Call of Duty esports. We're going to host a challenger event with no help from the fucking CDL, because they gave very little, if any at all. All right, so relax on the bullshit with Boston Breach and Oxygen Esports. They fucking did what they could. Long story short, shout out to FC Black for winning the fucking event. They have been dominating online, and then they brought it to land. They dominated online. Shout out to the boy Asim. Shout out to my boy Kremp. Shout out to Brack, the nicest fucking person, nicest kid in the Challenger scene, maybe in the Call of Duty scene, period. All right, shout out to their coach Mayhem. Like they did exactly what the fuck they were supposed to do. They showed up, showed out, and won. Shout out to Exceed. I mean, the guys they did what they're supposed to do. All right, they did what they're supposed to do. Now here's the kicker. All right, what does that mean now? What does that mean? My opinion, the tournament MVP was Kremp. All right, Kremp, to my opinion, was the best player at that event from what I seen. Okay, what does that mean now? What does that mean for those guys? What does it mean? They're the best challenger team. You got Asim and Kremp, probably the best two amateur players in the game. What does that mean? You won the amateur event. You won the challenger event. Now what? Asim has been a pro. Kremp has been a pro. What happens now? There's fucking gatekeepers in the league, in the CDL, that consistently say, just win. Just win and you'll get a spot. All right, bet. By the way, Mohawk would like to say you're full of shit when it comes to that. Regardless, you have teams right now at the bottom of the CDL that should be making moves. I tweeted this the morning of the grand final. I said, if I'm a team that got sent home and eliminated, if I'm the first team eliminated from the tournament, the major tournament, the pro tournament, I'm at the grand finals of the Challenger Open with a fucking notepad and a pen. Who am I bringing up? Who am I bringing up to help make my team better? Let's look at those fucking teams. Let's look at that. We've already gone through our how long I wanted to stay on this shit, but we're gonna look at these teams. The only team, let's see. Obviously, New York is not making a move. They shouldn't. Obviously, if I'm Boston Breach, thinking long and hard. I'm thinking long and hard. All right, I'm thinking long and hard. Who struggled? I'm thinking long and hard about that. Okay? We're not going to get into that, but we're thinking long and hard about our team and who struggled and are we ready to ride with this team all year? Snoopy, untouchable. That's your franchise player. You build around that. The other three, Snoopy and Priesta, I would say maybe keep. Snoopy for sure. Priesta, maybe keep. The other two, do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. Next team, LA Thieves. Listen, you got to move on from the Cammy and Afro duo. You have to. It hasn't worked out for them. You got to move on. I'm sorry to tell you, you got to move on from that. You have to. It hasn't worked out. Okay? Get rid of one or get rid of both. You got to move on. You keep Ghosty and you keep Joe Deceives. Those are your two, in my opinion, who you keep. Ghosty and Joe Deceives. Get rid of Cammy, get rid of Afro, or get rid of one or either. That's LA Thieves. So we got two teams right there for sure that can make a move. All right, two teams for sure can make a move. Next up, we'll go to Las Vegas Legion. Okay, Las Vegas Legion. I mean, do I have to say more about who needs to go? Okay. Do I have to say more? Okay. You, there's something about Las Vegas Legion, about that brand. They just have not had luck with bringing in first-time players. I don't know what it is. They just haven't had luck. They just haven't had luck. I don't know. Purge, you got to go, brother. You got to go. I mean, at one point he had the lowest KD I think ever of a player in a Call of Duty series. At one point, I think. I mean, I'm sorry to tell you, he was getting fucking bodied. He was getting bodied. All right. His best series, I think, was against LAG, where he had like a 1.01. Right? Not bad. Not bad. Let's go to was that was that? Hold on a minute. Hold on. What was that a minute? Hold on a minute. Listen, guys. All right. Again, I don't want to sound like an asshole. The series where they beat the Heretics, first of all, throw any match against Miami Heretics this past weekend, it's not even valid. Miami Heretics they're the online reapers of the Call of Duty League. All right? They're the online reapers of the Call of Duty League. Any match you want on land against Miami Heretics is just whatever. You beat an amateur team. Okay? Miami Heretics look like a mid-tier amateur team. You beat Miami Heretics, cool. That means you just beat a mid-tier amateur team. That's how bad they looked this past event. No offense to them. Might have just been a fluke. Maybe they might have got stage fright. Whatever. Miami Heretics, hopefully they're going back to online, so maybe they'll get their mojo back. I don't know. Any match on land, Miami Heretics, you guys need to don't look at those. It is what it is. Whatever. In the series that the Las Vegas Legion won against Miami, Purge dropped a 0.46. Let me repeat that. And they won. They won this. That tells you how shit Miami was playing this weekend. Miami got 3-0'd by a team. Again, let me repeat that. Miami got 3-0'd against a team with a player that dropped a 0.46. Like, damn, Miami. I mean, and no offense to Journey, you dropped a 0.57, my guy? In my opinion, Vegas, you know you got to go. Purge, drop him down to the bench or trade or whatever. He's got to go. Okay. He's got to go. Or, and I'm not against this either, or keep him. His first LAN event, maybe he got stage fright. You never know. Maybe next event he does better. Maybe. You never know. Maybe he does. Give him the benefit of the doubt. Give him one more event. Leading up to the event, leading up to Major 2, he knows he has to play well. If he doesn't, then he knows he's gone. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that decision. If they want to keep him, I'm not mad at it. But I'm just saying, if you're thinking about making a move, obviously you know who you got to go with. It's not hard. Again, Purge, don't get mad at me, bro. I'm just giving you my thoughts. All right. Miami. Let's check out Miami. I get it's the Spanish team. They've been a team for a while. Blah blah blah. Let's see who we can think about maybe getting rid of, which I highly doubt will happen, but we'll see. Shit, Hold on. I'm pretty sure I know who it is, but I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait and see. I'm gonna wait and see. So yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys know who we got to talk about, but I'm gonna check his numbers real quick in all the matches they played. So on LAN against Optic, Journey had a 0.64. And then against Las Vegas, he had a 0.57. So there's your weak link for Miami, right? There's your weak link for Miami. Journey. Are they going to make a move? Probably not. But if they decide to, there's the person you... And we're talking about for numbers, all right? We're talking off of numbers. We're not talking about vibes. We're just talking strictly numbers here with that. Okay? And it's not like Miami won. They lost everything. They didn't win a fucking map. Are they going to make a move? Who knows? Should they? Who knows? Maybe not, because again, they could have got stage fright. Who knows? So those are the teams that I'm looking at. If I'm thinking about making a move, or those are the teams I would say should make a move, right? Now let's talk about the players that are available. Okay. Players I think should be considered. All right. Players that I think should be considered pickups. Okay. The number one challenger player right now, in my opinion, coming off that LAN event, Kremp, number one. Number two, Asim. That's number two. And number three, Craze. Okay. Let me repeat that. The number one player that I think, if any team's going to make a move, they should snatch him up right now. We're talking about challengers, right? Number one, Kremp. Number two is Asim. Number three is Craze. And number four, and for some reason people aren't really talking about him. He always flies under the radar. Gunzy. I'm going to repeat that. Number one, Kremp. Number two, Asim. Number three, Craze. And number four, Gunzy. All right? Out of those four players, if you're one of those bottom CDL teams right now, instead of recycling another fucking pro who you've already seen what they can do, instead of chasing that old record or that old possibility with that older player, Asim, Kremp, Craze, or Gunzy. Pull the trigger on one of those players. Pull the trigger on one of those players. We have yet to see Kremp at his full potential. Asim is in his prime right now. We haven't even scratched the surface of what Craze could possibly do. He hasn't even got a shot yet. And he's doing what he's doing in challengers. Gunzy is he's moving uphill. Another guy who we haven't even seen what he's able to do to his full potential, and he's doing what he's doing in challengers. You got four players there that could help your shit team on the bottom of the standings. Here's the kicker. Do those guys take a spot? Think about that. Do they take a spot and possibly end up like Fire, end up in a situation that maybe they should have just skipped that opportunity because they're going to be on a shit team, especially for someone like Craze or someone like Gunzy who have yet to play in the pro league. First impressions are everything. Do you want your first impression to be on a shit team getting fucking destroyed by Optic, getting destroyed by FaZe, getting destroyed by Ultra, and you're the automatic scapegoat because you're the new guy? Something to think about. Something to think about. And I'll give you guys some info right now. The phones are ringing. All right? The phones are ringing. Okay? Things are happening. That's all I'm going to say. Things are happening. Okay? All right, guys. So we're going to end today's episode with a shout out to Doug Censor Martin. What the fuck am I saying? I'm tired. I've been on for almost an hour and a half. Holy fuck. Big episode to come back. Hour and a half. Let's go. Listen. Shout out to Doug Censor Martin announcing his retirement. I mean, what a career. All right? What a career. I get people always want to call Censor cringe, and fuck all that. Salute to Censor for what he did in the competitive Call of Duty scene. Salute to Censor for being one of the OGs. Salute to Censor for moving the needle in competitive Call of Duty esports. All right? Who in COD esports made it cool to be healthy? Who? All these fat fucks, me included. Doug showed that it was possible to be healthy and still be a good fucking Call of Duty player. Right? Not to mention the things he's done, the players he's found. All right? Even though, hey, Doug, I found Snoopy before you did. Let's be real. I found Cremp before you did. Whatever. Not a big deal. Whatever. We're not going to get into that, but whatever. Shout out to Doug Censor Martin. Happy retirement. And thank you, Doug, for everything you did for the competitive Call of Duty scene and everything you did for COD esports in general. Being one of the pioneers, being somebody who moved the needle, being somebody who wanted the best for his teammates, but more importantly, wanted the best for the scene in general. Thank you for your contribution. And I guarantee you, I don't even know what you're going to do next, but I know it's going to be something crazy. And the discipline and the hard work that you put in to your competitive career, I'm sure you're going to translate to that to more likely content creation and shit like that. So I'm excited. I'm excited for what he's going to do in the future. And yeah, shout out to Doug, man. Happy for you, dude. Hopefully things work out for whatever you do next. We'll read off Doug's career stats before we get off. Doug Censor Martin career stats: pro tournaments 35, average placing 9.60, series win loss 113 and 81, a 58.2 win percentage. Finals appearance 5, tournament wins 4, best champs placing 4th. Prize money earned, that's pretty low, $61,900. Shout out to Doug. Shout out to the championship teams, Next Threat, Strictly Business, and FaZe. Shout out to Doug, man. Happy retirement. Thank you for your contribution to the competitive Call of Duty esports scene. And yeah. Listen, guys, with that, we're going to call it an episode. I appreciate you guys checking by. Yeah, my bad. For an hour and a half, I didn't realize I was going to talk that much. When I get going, it's hard for me to stop, but I wanted to get this episode out today. So hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Listen, if you're on TikTok, follow me on TikTok. TikTok/Garza Beats. You guys know I stream every night. Twitch.tv Garza Beats. Kick.com Garza Beats. Everything Garza Beats. Go to your Twitch, drop a follow at Garza Beats. Go to your Kick, drop a follow at Garza Beats. Go to your TikTok, drop a follow at Garza Beats. Go to your Twitter/X, drop a follow at Garza Beats. I'll talk to you guys later. God bless. Hopefully we got an interview for next episode. Hopefully we do another one this week. But either way, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a beautiful night. Enjoy your week. Stay safe and wash your ass. We out.